Our first speaker is Professor Dwijen Bhattacharjya. Professor Bhattacharjya will be speaking about what is happening currently in Bangladesh. Professor Bhattacharjya, please take your place, please. His topic is ongoing massacre of Bangladeshi Hindus that is going on now following a military-inspired coup with an Islamist government. I'll briefly introduce Professor Bhattacharjya. He was born and raised in current territory of Bangladesh. Upon graduating from University of Dhaka with a master's degree in English language and literature, he started his career as a lecturer in English in Notre Dame College, Dhaka, not in Indiana. He also has a master's degree in linguistics from University of Leeds and a PhD in the same subject from Graduate Center of City University of New York. He is currently supported by a Fulbright scholarship and Wenner Gren fellowship. He spent a year researching in India to collect data for his dissertation. He taught Bengali at Columbia University since 1995. There are many more attributes, but in the sake of shortening time, I'm going to leave the introduction at this stage, and I'll give you the real thing. Professor Dwijen Bhattacharjya, let's give him a round of applause.
Good morning, Professor Dr. Adkanji, my main contact. First of all, I'm grateful to Professor Bandonda, who came to 12 of our meetings in New York, one in New York, one in Montreal. I represent the General Secretary of a small human rights organization called Bangladeshi Hindu, Buddhist, and Christian Unity Council, USA. We founded it in 1990 to fight this. But anyway, this is a genocide conference on genocide. Bangladesh genocide happened in 1971, and you will hear details of the genocide later after me. But just to give you some sense of what happened in 1971, 3 million unarmed civilians were killed by the Pakistani army and their Bangladeshi Islamist allies. Nearly 400,000 women were subjected to slavery, sex slavery, and nearly 10 million people were forced to leave the country in the face of atrocities. 93% of them were Hindus, hence the Hindu genocide. There are experts here, Professor Bhattacharjya, Ms. Priya Shaha, you will hear from them. Having said that, here is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to talk about what is happening now in Bangladesh after a cataclysmic disaster that happened on August 5. So this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to read the abstract of my paper that tells you all, and then show you some slides and read my recommendations with the hope that through you I might be able to reach out to the State Department. Assistant Secretary Donald Blue is in control of affairs, and the government of India together, who can save the remaining 18 million Hindus and other religious and ethnic minorities, namely the Buddhists, Christians, Ahmadiyya Muslims, Shia Muslims, and the Sufi Muslims, and the singers. These are mystic singers called the Baul people. I repeat, through you, my whole purpose of coming down here from New York is to reach out to these two authorities through you, if I may. And I'm absolutely sure that you have contacts with them. That's the whole goal. Okay, so I'm reading out the abstract first. This will tell you all, and then go over the slides quickly and then read the recommendation. So the religious and ethnic minority, Hindus, Buddhists, Christians, the indigenous peoples, many of whom are animists, Bauls, mystic singers, and even the Sufi, Shia, and Ahmadiyya Muslims of Bangladesh and its fledgling secular democracy are both facing an existential threat from the Islamists who effectively took control of the country on August 5, 2024 by forcing Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to abdicate power and leave the country. Although a few student coordinators, quote unquote, led this mass uprising of Bangla Spring, if I may use it, although a few student coordinators led this mass movement, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, so although a few student coordinators, they call themselves, they coordinate the whole uprising, mass uprising, okay, called student coordinators, led this mass uprising or Bangla Spring from the front. This highly consequential regime change was by no means a student movement seeking abolition of quota in the government jobs for the descendants of the freedom fighters of 1971 only. By all indications, it was jointly orchestrated by the Islamic nationalists, the radical Islamists of Bangladesh, and their international backers who have their own geopolitical interest of gaining unfettered control over the government of Bangladesh. I'm quoting Misra 2024. And the title of the paper is Document Show US Set in Motion Plan to Oust Hasina, the Sunday Guardian, 15th of September. Another paper, Nandi, Chandan Nandi, Bangladesh, title, Bangladesh Students Movement Coordinators met ISI, Inter-Service Intelligence of Pakistan, ISI, US handlers in Pakistan, Dubai, and Doha between April and September 2023. It is Northeast News, 6th of September. Okay? So for obvious reasons, China, India, Pakistan, and the United States all have interest in Bangladesh, some of which are also shared by both the Islamic nationalists and radical Islamists of Bangladesh. The present paper seeks only to understand the implications of Bangla Spring for its religious and ethnic minorities and secular democracy within Bangladesh and beyond its borders. So what next for Bangladesh? As The Economist 2024 reports in its cover page article, Bangladesh Begins Again, is the August 10, 16 issue. The chief advisor of the interim government, Nobel Peace Laureate Dr. Muhammad Yunus, has hailed this regime change of August 5 as the second liberation, quote unquote, of the country from an autocratic ruler, and the student coordinators who led the Bangla Spring from the front regard it as the end of a fascist ruler, Daily Observer, etc., several newspapers. Many people share this view. They regard this as an opportunity to start afresh by ending autocracy, cronyism, corruption, and political repression. Unlike them, the progressive Muslims and the religious and ethnic minorities of the country, however, view the change as a cataclysmic disaster. This is because the ouster of Sheikh Hasina has been accompanied by a systematic nationwide campaign of religious and ethnic minority cleansing and an onslaught on secular democracy, destruction of anything and everything related to the independence of Bangladesh and creation of a secular democratic state. Having said that, let's go to the slides. So let's see. Okay, so I said what the main goals of this paper is. I skipped. On August 5, I said that they ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Now it's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, she's a secular democrat. That's what she claimed. But she, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, her party claimed that they champion secular democracy in the country. But as a matter of fact, what she did during her rule was she promoted Hafazat Islam, the Muslim fundamentalists, as opposed to the radical Islamists. The opposition party, BNP, is partners with the radical Islamists, so she had to balance it so that she could win election if it is held. So she made friends with the fundamentalists. To appease them, she made 560 mega mosques throughout the country, not a single church, not a single temple, of course. So this is what she did. Instead of passing a blasphemy act that they demanded, she allowed the digital security law to incarcerate the atheists, bloggers, the minorities, anybody who opposed her, and the journalists, particularly the minorities, and incarcerated them. By making false statuses on the website, they would come down on the minorities. And there have been cases like 25,000 mullahs rampaged to 16, 14 Buddhist villages. It went on and on, continual pogroms that decimated them. And she allowed them. It all happened on her watch though. We pleaded with her to pass a Minority Protection Act. Never, she would never do anything. In 23, I was one of them, talking to her for 1 hour and 40 minutes. Argued with me. We requested pass a Minority Protection Act, including hate speech and crime law, etc. Or like the Minority Ministry Affairs that India has. She completely dismissed us. We came back. So, but still, she's better of the two options you have in the country, so we call her secularist. I had to qualify it, okay? But she was ousted, all right? With her gone, I read what is happening in the country. They have resumed the religious and ethnic cleansing and decimating the secular Muslim, the progressive Muslim, and all vestiges of secular democracy. Okay, so who orchestrated this upheaval and who executed it? What are the implications? I mentioned it in my abstract, so I'm skipping. Who are the main student coordinators? Look at the name, Mahfuz Alam. He appointed himself the personal assistant to Dr. Yunus, the Nobel laureate Dr. Yunus, whom they hired. As I said, the student coordinators, you know who they are backing. It's pretty obvious, and I cited 2 documents here, and that should be enough for you to know who did it and why they did it. It's geopolitical interest, okay. And the domestic Islamists have their own interest to transform Bangladesh into an Afghanistan or an Iran, an Islamic theocracy, not even an Islamic Republic of Pakistan, worse than that. That's what they're doing now. Now who they are? Mahfuz Alam, Naid Islam, Asif Mahmud, Sarjis Islam, Hasnat Abdullah. Their mastermind is Mahfuz Alam, and they demolished it. Look at this. Everything is destroyed. Anything connected with the creation of secular Bangladesh is being wiped out. Somebody went to pay his homage, to pay respect on when the date he was assassinated. Look at him what they are doing to him. They're brutalizing this man. You cannot even go there. You cannot even utter their name inside Bangladesh now, the founding father of the nation. Okay, so look at it. In 2016, you may have heard, there's a place called Holy Artisan Bakery in Dhaka, where they assassinated, slaughtered, these are ISIS-inspired Islamic radical, Bangladesh radical Islamists. They slaughtered, I think there were 9 Americans, 7 Italian, and 1 Indian. They slaughtered these 20 people in real time. Yeah, I'm just reading the recommendation. So they're wiping out everything. So these are the pictures I'm showing you. All the sculptures are going. Tagore, they posted in India, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, where Tagore's name was there. Look at this, broken temples. Look, ISKCON temple. 200 houses were set ablaze, the indigenous people. So these are people who are protesting. This boy was arrested. He was snatched from the army, from the police station, and they tried to lynch him. Apparently he's still alive. Apparently his eyes were extracted. Nobody knows what is happening to them. He's a musician. So I can show you they're being forced to join Jamaat Islam, and they're given papers to convert to Islam. Look at this picture. This is what is happening in Bangladesh today. They are forcing the minority educators to resign. This is what is happening. Recently, since August 5, 2010 incidents of violence against the religious minorities.
Please give your recommendation.
So they're basically finishing up the genocide they conducted in 1971. We remain 18 million and they're finishing it up. So I guess I don't have any time to read the recommendations, and I have them in the paper. If you want, I'll be happy to share it with you. Thank you very much.
Very good.